is like strong. But for people who fly in wingsuits from aircrafts or from mountains, and people who run and ride the bicycle, they want to know how fast they can go and how is their endurance. And people who fly wingsuits, they want to know that too, how fast they can go, how far they can go, or how long they can stay in the air. The problem here, and not the problem, the difference is that when you run, your movement is relative to the ground. But when you fly, you're flying in the air, which moves in itself. And then you put a GPS on the helmet, and it records data points and says that, okay, you're now flying at this speed, but then let's say the wind was adding 50 kilometers per hour for it. So can we know if I am flying better or worse, if I increase my performance or kind of still the same? So I wanted to add wind data to the application. I found that there is a service in US that covers the entire globe called NoGFS, and they have HTTP API. So I made a sidekick job connected to this API, get the data out of it, and it all worked well for a couple of years. And then I provided the data on the charts. So people knew that if they flew like 250 kilometers per hour, that 50 kilometers were coming from wind. And yeah, everyone was happy until one day an exceptions count rise to spiked so badly. I get an email saying that my application eats all plan for exception monitoring in 2 days, and they are not going to notify me about exceptions again. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I tried it locally, all works. But how it often happens, like works locally doesn't work on production. Went to check logs and went for investigation on logs, and I found out that my 300 requests per hour become too much. So it was okay for a few years, now it's not. But I had a plan B. The other way this service provide data is a binary file. It's called grep files, and I thought, okay, like if I have the other way, I would just download the file, get the data out of it, save to database. It will be just a single request, not 300. Everyone must be happy after that. Downloading file was easy, as all of you guys know, but how do I get that data? So there is a game for that, right? Like I went to Ruby Gems, I put a grep into the search fields, and I found two options. And I said, oh, fantastic. I don't need to write anything until I found out that the first one is not compiled anymore, cannot compile against modern Ruby anymore, and the second is just gone. So I was looking on the screen like, there should be a way not to build it by myself. But then with binary file, like we are programmers, right? We can do that. So I download specification, 200 pages, explaining how to get data of the binary file. And I said, no, like it shouldn't be that painful to get data. Like I'm not alone. I shouldn't be alone in this world trying to get data out of like a file. Like, so I went for a search again. I found out there is a C library, there is a Python library, and there is a CLI application. I said, okay, like CLI is my last resort. Like running a CLI command from a sidekick job and parsing the text result is not like the most reliable way. But then, can I call a Python code from Ruby? And then I thought, like, okay, like Python is just like Ruby, but Python. It shouldn't be that hard to rewrite what they have. And then I went to check what they have, and there's two things that caught my attention. I knew what the H file stands for, but what is binding spy? And so I asked my colleague, like, what is Ruby alternative for binding pi? And the answer was shockingly obvious. Like, what? I saw these letters like many times. Every time that when Nokagiri failed to compile, it says like there's something with FFI. And I was like, oh, well, it gave some hope. it gave a hope that I can bridge the land from Ruby to the C library using FFI. So I added the FFI to a gem file and started from a docs, of course, and I did hello world, and it worked. And well, now time to try something real. So that's when you attach a function, you read the documentation, you are do kind of set arguments and then a return type, but not very readable, right? It's so cryptic. So I thought I would do myself a favor and add some docs and build a slim wrapper around it, so it became like that. And you see a copy of this doc. It says, remember always to delete the handle. This is where you step to a sealant, it will not always clean up after yourself. And I was happy that the developer who wrote this documentation said this to me, because otherwise I wouldn't even think about that. So the thing when you create things that you create from FFI, like that's FFI memory pointer, the first line in the code, this will be garbage collected by Ruby. But the things that's created from inside the libraries that you're going to use, it is not. But we come to it a bit later in a moment. There are two more things that was an obstacle for my attempt to get data from a file. And this says like error hot set if return handle value is null and the end of the file is not reached. And hello output parameters. Have you guys seen them before? It's not a common pattern in Ruby world. You're not doing this often, right? Or you're normally not doing this at all. You're not trying to modify parameter from inside the function. But in C, that's a common pattern. But by the way, can you guys guess what would be B in the end? 3 or 5? It will be 3 because this will not really modify anything. In Ruby, the simple values pass by value. So when you assign 5, it would just it won't do anything to B because it's not a reference. But you still can achieve the similar results as result of parameters with C if you pass an object and then you can modify things from inside. But yeah, that's the thing to keep in mind. So when you, it's not really common pattern in Ruby, but you still can do this. And if you want to do this when connecting to a different library, you just create a pointer and you pass it to a method call, and then you this function this will write return value to this memory address, and then you can get it out. There's another thing. After I figured out parameters, it's not that hard. I thought there's just one more step to get it working. I just need to pass pointer to a file. Again, I asked my colleague to help me, and it says like, it responded like, do this, and I was okay, I will. So I followed the advice, almost letter by letter, put it inside. I ran my test, and then get this segmentation fault. Luckily, I was happy I was doing like changing line by line, so I knew exactly what led to this. I'm not really proficient in CLand to really understand all of the details that they put here. So I know that this comes from this line, so I just figured it out. So I searched on the internet how to get a pointer to a file in Ruby. Nothing. Really nothing. I thought like, am I really alone in this world trying to do this? But then I got the idea. If I can get pointer from a Ruby land, why can't I get pointer from a C land again? So I go to a C land, open a file, get a pointer, come back to Ruby, and then pass this pointer to another library. So I did. Made a model, extend FFI library, attach a function, fopen, fclose, and well, now my code reaching two C libraries, and I felt I have a power to do anything right now. But let's go to responsibilities part of this power, when we need to clean up after ourselves. Making memory leaks was not my goal, so I built a small wrapper around the grep file. And what do you do when you need to clean up after yourself? So you can hook up to kind of a callback when your object is being garbage collected. And this comes from object space in Ruby. And after hooking up to this, it worked. And while it may seem like not a big thing, after all, it felt like a really great success of PHP putting all of these things together. And here's a few things that I learned from that. Is to, when you're coming to this, you just better move with baby steps. You don't want to make changes in many places and then guess where segmentation false is coming from. And then TDD works great in this case, as you can define what you want to get out of this and then see how it goes. If you don't really know what you want, you just make a failing test and just iterate from there. And do future yourself a favor and leave the docs and small abstractions for just easier debugging when there is a need for it. So when there is no gem for it, guys, just build it yourself. Thank you.
What's the font you use in your presentation?
Wow, and it's my handwriting.
Really? Your handwriting?
Yeah, I just.
You write it by yourself?
Yes, drawings and writing, I just.
Wow. That's insane. So crazy.
I mean, unless you are asking about this comes from ID.
Alex, I have a question about if you go back to previous page, I would like. This one. I would like to know how would you define the for point 3? How do you define the abstraction about which part should belong to the abstraction and which part should not?
I would say start from a slimmer and smaller one. This was an example. Here. No? Wait. This. So in attach function in the bottom, you may see that it's doing underscore grep handle new file and then function grep handle new file. So the function is the actual function, but the first one is alias for it. And then you just try to think from how, if the code was written in Ruby, how would it look like to be called from outside? So just make it more look like a Ruby. So you just pass a file here, optionally context, and if it needs to throw an exception, you just handle it and do it, and then return a value.
Cool. Yeah, just I follow the Ruby way.
Yes. Also, please surprise for a future yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? If you want to ask any questions and Alex is here, you can just come here and talk to him. Yes. And then next, we have second speaker. We'll have another talk about working in a foreign company.
Okay.